I think Mrs. Nadarajas should be along shortly as well, but she's in a meeting at the moment, so we're at 8 o'clock and we'll get started. I'd like to apologise first of all for the change of topic. This was supposed to be a Google Apps and Core iPad List workshop, but as we had some changes going on with the Alice Smith systems at the moment, and hopefully all of you have received letters about that in the last few days, we thought it would be pertinent to offer you some additional support with the changes that are taking place. So, has anybody not had a letter from their children yet? Is there any possibility it's in bags or anything like that? All right. If not, that's no problem. We can issue you with your details at the end of the session. But hopefully you have had that letter come through to you. And the reason why is to basically issue with a new username, a new email address, and a new password. So, why? First of all, what's wrong with the old way? Well, certainly some of the feedback that we've had from parents over the last couple of years is that there are far too many usernames, passwords, login details for this, login details for that, and it's very difficult to remember them all. So what we are trying to do is to move towards what's called single sign-on, which is basically a single set of credentials, so an email, a password, and a username for everything that you access at Alice Smith. Obviously, one of the other key reasons is to enable better interaction for you guys with the Google services. Now, we are a Google school. We use Google services. Our children regularly use Google. They have email addresses, they access Google sites, they do Google Docs. We are a Google school. And by issuing you with effectively your own Google username and password for Alice Smith, that will allow you to interact better with Google services. And I'll show you a bit more about that in a second. Can I just get a quick show of hands? Has anybody heard of the Class Gateway? Wow. I was hoping a few more of you might put your hand up there. We kind of have been plugging this for a little while now, but I'll certainly give you some more information about that in a sec. But Class Gateway, I'll talk about that later. And one of the other things as well, I don't know if anybody's got more than one child in the school? Quick show of hands. Okay, so when you log on to CHQ, you will have had a username and password for every child. However, we've now changed that. Part of this whole process was basically to give you a single login for CHQ, which was standardized, same as the Google one. And instead of going in and having to log in with each child's details, you go in, you choose your child from the list, and then you assign the activities, and it's all done under that single username and password. And again, I'll show you that shortly. So that's why we've done this. I appreciate the upheaval that it causes trying to get this many usernames and passwords out to this many parents, but it is necessary, and hopefully it will make things easier in the future. So what have you got? Well, obviously, your email address and your password is basically a Google account. That's what you need to think of it as. Alright, if you try and log into Gmail, for example, it will let you, but it will come up with a message saying that this service is being disabled. But it does allow you to log into the Class Gateway, which is a system that's built all around Google Sites. So for us to secure it properly, you need to have a login, and that's what your Google account, that's what this Google account is for. Your username is basically the first part of your Alice Smith email address. So whatever system in the future that we use, it will either consist of, it'll either require your username, which is obviously this one here, or if it's a Google system, it will require this one here, which is your username followed by the @alicesmith.edu.my. The password will be exactly the same for all the systems. So if you're ever wondering, well, why have you chosen to give me a number? Does anybody want to have a guess as to why that is? Yeah? It's your ID number, okay? So basically, your username is your membership number, and that's written on your name badge, and the letter after it is the first letter of your surname, okay? So if you're ever not sure what your username is, it's written on your name badge, okay? The password is one that's set by us. And again, as I said, hopefully it's relatively easy to remember. It's based on your credentials again. I'll talk a bit more about what's going to happen with passwords later. But that password will be the same for any of the systems that you access from now on. So, what does this actually impact? Well, at the moment, you've got to appreciate that this isn't an immediate process. This is something that we have to do slowly and surely, and it probably isn't something that we will have managed to achieve, by the end of this year. But at the moment, the systems that are affected are Class Ops. Class Ops is our payment system, if you're not familiar with that. CHQ, which is the activity system, and then Class Gateway as well, which again I'll show you a little bit. Some of the systems that aren't affected at the moment, if you've got children in foundation stage, then Tapestry, that will not change at this stage. And then if you've got children in years 1 and 2, the Evidence for Learning or Teacher Cloud, that won't change at this point either. But there is no reason why these can't. So as we try to move these forward, we will be looking to align these systems with your existing usernames and passwords as well. So, what is the Class Gateway? Well, if you've got a device on you, I would strongly suggest that you visit, and this is by far the easiest way to get to it, classgateway.edu.my. There is a link to this on the school website as well, but I really want to try and get across the point that if you're ever not sure where to go, it's classgateway.edu.my, and it will take you to a page which looks like this. Right. So, once you get to this, if you want to log in, then we're going to click in using our Google account. Now I'm already logged into this, okay, so it's already remembered my details. So I have slightly different tabs up here. You will find, when you log in, as we develop this, you'll find additional information along these tabs as well. But basically, that's what you're looking at.
Sorry, something just come up on mine. It says switch account because I have a Gmail account.
Yes, if you already have your own Gmail account, then you need to log out of that and log in using your Alice Smith account. That's right. Yeah, that's it. So quick. Or you can add account. You can have both, and you can switch between the two. Okay. So if you have already got a Gmail account, you can run a browser with both accounts in simultaneously, and in the top right hand corner you should see a button which says switch accounts. If you click onto that, you can then add a new set of credentials. This is the parent app. So if you just open the web browser, just that's it, and then just go to classgateway.edu.my, and that should get you on.
Excuse me, what's the Class Gateway?
Sorry?
Is it
Classgateway.edu.my. Don't think you need the W's. So get rid of the W's and make it work.
No. When I press log in. No. Don't log in. Sign in. My session. Sign in. Yeah. This is what happened yesterday. Yeah, just switch your cat. Yeah. So I think we go up to the top. That'll be in the letter. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Shall we go? Yeah. Do you need to get your details? No, probably. Yeah, Alice.
I just did it. It's probably not
Is there anyone else who doesn't have their login that we can help you with? Your password and everything. So I have some of you. Okay. Video. Yeah, so yeah, give me yours. So I see. Edith. The reason you have that's your password. It's just that's your login, so look at the rest of the email. Okay?
Cari balik ke?
Lagi laptop lah. Tak cukup laptop.
No, give it a password. Those you don't have. So I left mine at home. My room is organized Sorry, you were before me.
Really?
Okay. I need the button.
Yeah, family. Now,
Right, anybody else still need some details? Hello?
that's my bed. Let's do 5, 2, 7.
They need help with the password.
Each parent will have a different
Is it all the same? It's the same, you know. It's the same.
Some parents have the same.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep coming around to help you get onto this if you need to, but I'd like to show you how this all works for the minute. Now, the first thing to remember, okay, is that this is basically a transition period, okay? Currently, the Class Gateway is going to be the new parent portal. All the information that you see on the current existing parent portal, the one where you have to log in with that generic email address that changes every 6 months, that will not exist anymore. All of the information will be found on the Class Gateway. So go to classgateway.edu.my. That is the only place that you need to worry about as far as accessing school systems are concerned. Okay? The parent portal will be gone. Now, because we are in a transition period, the two still sort of coexist. Which means that when you click onto something like Letters Home or Presentation and Docs, it will link to the old parent portal and it will ask for the old username and password, i.e. that parents@alice-smith.edu.my, and then the password that changes every 6 months. Now, we are in the process of transitioning all of this information over to the Class Gateway. And the date for this, and I'll put it up in the presentation in a minute, is the 14th of January. So from the 14th of January, the parent portal will be switched off and you will go to classgateway.edu.my for everything. As I say, you do have to bear with us because obviously there's a lot of information on the parent portal which we have to transition over, and it does take time to do that. So, best thing to do is, starting from now, go to classgateway.edu.my. And what I'd like to do now is just very quickly show you some of the ways in which this works. Okay, so I'm going to put in my Google details now. Okay, so I'm just logging in with a set of parent details now so you can see what this looks like, okay? So as I say, this information will be updated, all of it will be on this, you won't require the old parent login or the parent portal login by the 14th of January. But the ones that you need to worry about at the moment are going to be Class Ops and CHQ, so those are the ones that we'll have a quick look at now. So the first one is Class Ops. So if I click on Class Ops, now the reason why it's important that you go to classgateway.edu.my and then log in there is because that is effectively putting in your details for Class Ops as well. So if I click on the sign in with Google on Class Ops now, it's automatically recognised my details, and if I go to allow, I'm now in Class Ops. So I haven't had to sign in using a new set of details. And this is why we're trying to push this idea that you go to Class Gateway first, log in, because it also logs you in to other systems as well. Okay, so hopefully once you're in Class Ops, this is fairly familiar, and from there, obviously you can assign your meal orders and things like that, and we'll give you an opportunity to do that a little bit later on as well. So, I'd like to go back to the class gateway, if you don't mind. And yeah, just keep that set. And the other one I want to look at is CHQ. Okay, now CHQ is not a system you can authenticate with Google, but instead we will put in our username, which is the first portion of the email address. Okay, so this is the first portion of the email address. It's exactly the same password for CHQ, and then once we log into this one, again, typing error, sorry. Okay, so when you log into CHQ now, you'll see you've got your children listed, okay, and then the process is exactly the same from there. So if I wanted to assign an activity, I would click on the child that I want to assign the activity for. You would choose that activity in exactly the same way, and then once you've finished assigning that activity, in the top left hand corner up here, you can see a button which says select profile, okay? So if I click that button, it will take you back to the child selection screen, and then you can assign the activity for a different child as well, okay? So again, hopefully you can appreciate that one password with our student details under all of them is a little bit easier to manage. Now the only thing I would say, has anybody got, if you've got a child in both JB and EP, can you put your hand up? Okay. Now, because EP students choose their own activities, you can still log in, that's absolutely fine, but they will continue to choose their own activities using their own login details. When you log in, you will still see all of your children, but you will only be able to pick an activity for the child that's at JB. You can view the activities that your children have chosen for EP students, but you can't change them because that privilege is assigned to the student, to the children themselves, okay? So you'll still see all your children, doesn't matter which campus they are, but you can only assign activities for children at JB, okay? So, presentation. Okay, so one of the other key features of this is obviously we've got all of this stuff here at the moment, and this is being updated, but if we just scroll down a little bit here, this is the student navigation. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers Frog? Yeah, okay. We've been working for a long time now, for over a year and a half, well actually more than that, 2 years, on basically creating our online learning platform using Google Sites. Now, if you've got students at EP, then they can log in and they can access all sorts of resources that are available through different subjects and faculties there. And then if you've got children in JB as well, do you want to go into that one? Just have a quick look. Okay, it's basically the same thing. It's all organised by classes and things like that. Now, thankfully, we haven't had any issues this year. But if we ever had a Haze Day, for example, this is where you would find the work for home. Okay. So again, as a result of you being able to access the class gateway, you can also log into areas of this and have a look at what's going on as well. Hello.
I've just clicked on year one,
Yeah.
my kids in year one, and when you click on year one, you can't actually see what there is.
That looks like potentially with your links on year one, so it should look like that. Oh right, okay. That needs fixing.
Okay.
Sir,
Hello.
when you try to log into the PE, for example,
Yes.
it won't allow me.
Yeah.
You don't have enough.
Okay, that's fine. So at the moment, depending on how this works, some departments, because I don't know if you've ever looked at the class gateway before, okay, but because nobody had login details, this was all set up as public. So certain departments have had to put restrictions on there and they haven't yet been changed. But what we will do is I will talk to the departments, and if they feel that you need access, then I will make sure that it works with your login, okay? So, as I said, don't forget this is still developing. You've only just been issued with your usernames and passwords, and I'm showing you stuff really that at this stage is only just being made available. So just bear with us, keep trying, and you'll see things start to be added and start to open up. Okay. Okay. So that's the class gateway. I've said a lot of this anyway. It's a replacement for the parent portal. You will start to access all of the school information through classgateway.edu.my. Bookmark that tab because that's by far the easiest way to get into things like CHQ and Class Ops. As I said, 14th of January is when everything will be transitioned over, and then you won't see the parent portal at all anymore. You'll need to access it through from January 2017. So the only other thing which I was going to mention is with relation to passwords. Okay. Now at this stage we don't have an automated way for you to log into the site and change your password. It's certainly something which is on our radar, and it is something we are thinking about. There are issues because obviously now you have a family ID, which means that you need to share your username and password with spouses, partners, husbands and wives, okay? So if we were to, for example, say you can change your password, you would need to make sure that your corresponding partner also is aware of that password, otherwise they won't be able to access it. Now that might cause issues in some circumstances, but I wanted to make you aware of that. So if you do want to change your password, you can contact myself, the office managers, the IT department, and we can change that for you. It's probably best to come in and do that as opposed to actually emailing a new password through. But I wanted to make you aware of that. The other thing is as well, is if we transition new systems further down the line, then we might need to reset your password and we would notify you if that is going to happen. But at the moment, unless you have a burning desire to change your password, I probably wouldn't worry about too much. We have tried to make it as secure as possible, but if you do want to talk about that, then you can. Okay, so really there isn't anything at all.
For evidence of learning, that stays as it is.
Stays the same, yeah. So as far as this session goes, that's basically all I've got to say. If you do have any questions, there are quite a lot of us around. If you still need your username and details, then we can come around and give you those. But otherwise, thanks very much for coming. I hope that was useful, and do feel free to have a chat with us.